So earlier we had AfriForum CEO Kallie Kriel, who said while they are in the US, they're also trying to ensure that they save AGOA. At the same time, they also want, in fact, the US government to implement sanctions against some ANC officials, the lobby group currently in the US. And at the same time, this is happening as the Hawks confirming earlier that 4 dockets of high treason have been opened following accusations of the spread of misleading information in the United States on South Africa's Expropriation Act and AfriForum. Although the Hawks have not named names, AfriForum saying that they do believe that this is linked to them. So let's speak to the ANC's NEC member, Donald Selamolela, who is joining us this evening. Donald, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time. AfriForum speaking a lot about what they are currently doing in the US. They say that they're there to try and save AGOA, but at the same time, they want to persuade the US government not to punish the entire country as a whole. It's something they've been saying before, and they're saying that they want to ensure that the US government doesn't punish the entire country as a whole, but punishes some ANC members that they say are responsible for corruption. And also they say that there are also statements that are continuously being made about Afrikaners in the country, and no one is doing anything about this. How does the party react?
Good evening to you and good evening to the viewers on our SABC channel. Look, as the African National Congress, we are shocked by the continuous attempts of Kallie and his court of AfriForum, who are trying everything together with their sister organization, Solidarity, who are trying every other thing to tarnish the image of the country that we collectively work so hard to build as South Africans. We come from a very ugly past, Kallie, where we come from the past of racial discrimination. We come from the past where the minority trumped without even recognizing the majority as human beings. We don't want to be reminded of that past. And it would seem every day on the Kallie and his cohort are doing everything to send a message to the South Africans that they are yearning for that past. They are yearning for the past because the very acts that they are saying they are standing against, which is making them to fly all over the country, it is meant to redress the impasse, which is as a result of the effort of their grandfathers. It is Kallie's grandfather and the cohort of the Afrikaners who today speak as the most noble people on earth, who want to create an impression that the leadership of this particular country is servicing a particular section of the society. But we are not shocked. Because we understand it in this context. Before the elections, AfriForum and Solidarity in the main have positioned themselves as opposition to the sitting government. They've been taking every decision that the sitting government want to implement to advance transformation, to redeem those that have been sidelined in the past, the black majority of this country. They've been taking all those decisions to court. Now, when they fight the constitutionality test, that is why if you listen to what Kallie says, he's saying he has confidence in the court, but he doesn't want to go to court to challenge the various process. What he sought to do, he sought to find comfort in the headquarters of the American state, where he rushes there, thinking that doing that, he is going to isolate and dispose African National Congress from leading this particular country, because through the poll they've failed to get a consensus of taking us through the country. They've failed to set the Africans against each other. Now they are trying another means. Now, unfortunately and sadly, that effort that they are trying to put as they move abroad is backfiring on all of us, including themselves. We run a risk of being a victim of that. That's why now they are starting to want to qualify and isolate everyone and put the African National Congress leadership as though if we are against the people of South Africa, when every other thing we have done as the African National Congress was to redress the imbalance of the past, which was created by their forebearers.
They've been going to the US for a few years now, right? And one would then ask that, yes, possibly in the past, they may not have been getting the kind of response that they would have wanted at the time. And now this particular issue and the move to then have all these developments around them is happening because they're getting the response that they would have wanted all this time. Should the laws of the country not have been tightened that many years ago in order to ensure that some of these loopholes do not find themselves playing out in the public domain?
Look, we are a democratic state. And when you are a democratic state, you do not behave like what Kallie's forebearers did to our people. What Kallie's grandfather and the whole clan of his family did to our people, where you don't want people to exercise their right. It is in their right to try to mobilize support for every other cause that they believe is correct. But it's disingenuous, it's dishonesty, and it's marked a sense of racism when you want to isolate a particular section of the society and say Afrikaners are being killed. You know for a fact what the South African police system has been doing, or South African police service has been doing in relation to farm murderers. You know all the efforts that were put in there. And to also want to send a message that in South Africa, farmers are only Afrikaners, as if we are still in pre-1994, where they dominated the sector and subsidized each other. It's just quite suddenly disingenuous and dishonest.
So
but
if
I think we are seeing with this particular matter, and as well as this particular matter, as you are correctly saying, we're not going to say as the African National Congress, we hate Afrikaners because of what Kallie does, because so many of the African people of the Afrikaner language speaking do not subscribe to what Kallie stands for. They do not actually align to what he says. And indeed, the assertion that if he strongly feels that things are wrong in this country, he knows in a democratic society to challenge those matters in court. This thing that he does of whispering ear-to-ear, peddling lies in the headquarters of other countries in the global village is just so wrong, and it must be confronted and be exposed as wrong and the wrong that it is. And of course, we're not going to be bullied as the African National Congress. We cannot allow that. South Africa is a sovereign state and is not going to be bullied by anyone to reach ulterior racial, racist, white supremacy tendency. We cannot.
So, Donald, if you're saying that they're well within their rights, that to lobby and to express themselves, we do know we do have freedom of expression in this country. What posture then are you taking when it comes to these 4 dockets that the Hawks is talking about? I know they didn't mention their names, but AfriForum believes that these may be linked to them. So if you're saying that they are, they're well within their rights to lobby and to do what they are doing, what posture are you taking towards these dockets then? It
is within their right to lobby, but it's wrong to lobby advancing an insensitive matter that seeks to create chaos in the society. That is wrong. And that is borders on a particular sense of wanting to dominate the society, not through an electoral vote, but through a particular means that you lobby your friends abroad to come and shoot in the country. Now, we can't enter into the issues of the dockets because we do not know who pressed those particular matters. But should a South African feel that what they are doing must be brought before the court of law, as a democratic organization, we welcome that for the court of law to make a determination as to who's wrong and who's right. If those who are preferring those particular charges, who request the state to prepare those particular charges, says, this is what we think in our right AfriForum is doing, is treason, and it must be taken to court. Let them go to court, the two, and answer in the court of law. And because we believe in constitutional democracy, we subscribe to constitutional democracy. Our forebearers died for this thing. Well, Kallie and his friends and his forebearers
so what happens
and killing our people.
What happens if they succeed in the US and they do get these sanctions against some of your officials?
Look, you might be aware, President Ramaphosa and his government, they are doing everything to manage diplomatic relations. And we have confidence in the leadership of President Ramaphosa, Comrade Selamolela, and the entire team that is managing diplomatic relations for us. We do not want to even venture into those particular anticipations because we have their confidence and we know it will not deteriorate to that particular level.
If it does deteriorate to that particular level, what do you do?
Look, as a sovereign state at that particular time, we'll have to make a determination to respond to the course of action at that particular time. But at this point, you can't then say, this is what we are going to do should this happen. You will deal with the merits and demerits of the matter at that particular time. But I can tell you with confidence, we have confidence that we have the capacity, more so that we know for it a fact, that AfriForum knows they are lying, Solidarity knows they are lying. That is why they are starting to chicken out and start to rephrase what they've said in the beginning. If we hear the message they are sending today, it's not the message they sent a month ago. They are starting to chicken out because one thing we know, like foe, the truth will always come on top. And when the truth comes on top, they will be embarrassed. They'll run helter-skelter for shelter with their tails between their legs.
Donald, thank you so much for your time this evening. That was the ANC's NEC member, Donald Selamolela.